If you could live for millions of years, what would you do with all that time? Hello, welcome to Movie Moments. Today, I'll be narrating a movie titled The Old Guard, released in 2020. You ready? Let's go. The movie opens with dead bodies on the floor in what appears to have been a gunfight. With no explanation to what really happened, we're moved to the next scene. A woman named Andy meet up with her team, Booker, Nikki, and Joe. They are delighted to see her, but what they do isn't clear just yet. In the next scene, Andy and her team meet up an agent, James Copley, who briefs them of an attack on a village seeking their help to rescue hostages. Andy agrees to take on the mission. Later, she and her team are dropped off somewhere in South Sudan. They appear to be carrying unusual weapons like swords, axes, together with their guns. Later that night, they sneak into the supposed site where the hostages are held. They manage to pull through the security of the location, but there's no one there, just an empty, dark room. Immediately, the lights come on and they are gunned down by a group of masked men. This takes us back to the first clip of the movie with dead bodies on the floor. Andy took a lot of bullets and seemed dead for a while until she opened her eyes and her body starts healing. The same happens to her team. They get up and kill every single man in the room. Andy notices a camera and discovers they've been set up. On the other side of the camera is James Copley watching them. They are completely pissed off and worried about people knowing who they are, a band of immortal warriors. Andy says they must find Copley before more people find out who they are. The next scenes were introduced to Nile Freeman, an American Marine serving in Afghanistan. While raiding a village, Nile is slit on the throat and she dies. Meanwhile, Andy and her crew are traveling on a train when they all get a vision about Nile and Nile about them. Nile wakes up in shock. Andy and the guys are in shock as well, as there hasn't been another immortal in the last 200 years. They begin to debate if they should go after her or continue their mission of finding Copley. Andy decides to go after Nile while the others continue the mission. One of them draws her a picture of Nile, she takes it and jumps off the train. Back at the Marine camp, some Marine officers talk about how Nile survived when they saw her die. They go in to see Nile and are shocked to see not even a scratch on her neck. She cooks up a cover story, but they don't believe her. In the next scene, Copley meets Stephen Merrick, CEO of a pharmaceutical company. Seeing the footage, Merrick tells Copley to work with his team and capture the immortals, as they would prove valuable to his research. Meanwhile, Nile has become the talk of the camp and her friends are frightened of her. She receives orders to be taken back to Istanbul for more tests. As she's about to be taken, Andy knocks all the officers out, including her. Nile wakes up later in a moving car trunk. She tries to get away, but Andy shoots her. Nile wakes up realizing Andy shot her and starts freaking out. She asks Andy who she is, and she replies that she leads a group of immortal soldiers, and if Nile wants more answers, she should get into the car. Nile and Andy board a plane in the middle of the desert. While Andy falls asleep, Nile tries to hijack the plane, but Andy wakes up just in time. The two fight it out until Nile gets hurt. They come to a truce as she heals. Andy and Nile meet up with the others at an abandoned church in the outskirts of Paris. Nile has a lot of questions for them. There she discovers Booker was the last immortal found in 1812 when he died alongside Napoleon, while Nikki and Joe were part of the Crusaders. Andy is the oldest. She's also told that they can die, only they don't know how, when, and why. Apparently, they lost one of them decades ago. The information is a lot to process for Nile. Later that night, Nile wakes up startled by a dream. She tells the guys she keeps dreaming of a woman buried in an iron coffin under the sea, who keeps dying and coming back to life. They tell her the woman is Quinn, and she was one of them. Back in the day, it was Quinn and Andy. They fought side by side in different eras. They were called witches, and people tried to kill them multiple times, but they kept coming back to life. One day, Queen was taken and locked inside the iron coffin and dumped into the sea, as they thought they were stronger together. Andy escaped and searched for Queen for decades. Nile explains how she feels Queen's rage, and Nikki says anyone stuck in a cage over 500 years is bound to be full of rage. That's why they live in hiding, for fear of the unending horrors they may go through at the hand of their captors. Nile steps out to catch some air, while Andy follows her. While they're talking in the fields, they hear loud bangs back at the apartment. When they get back, they find Booker, whose belly has been shattered while slowly healing, while Joe and Andy have been taken. The masked men came back for Andy at Copley's command, but she slaughters every one of them. Nile is shocked at the number of men Andy took down by herself. The three escape while Nick and Joe are tied up to a van and taken to Copley, waiting on them at a hangar. Nile, Andy, and Booker hide out in an abandoned mine while they try to find Copley. Meanwhile, Nick and Joe are brought to Stephen Merrick's at Merrick's Corporation, where they'll be used as lab rats. Back at the mine, Andy feels pain on her shoulders. She was stabbed by one of Copley's men and she doesn't seem to be healing. She steps out to a convenience store to treat her wounds. The storekeeper helps tend to her wounds while she thinks of how the first immortal died. Back at Merrick's, tests are carried out on Nick and Joe. Meanwhile, Andy is back at the mine. She sits on a car outside the mine while she's joined by Nile. She tells her how she broke her promise to Quinn by giving up the search for her and promises to get Nikki and Joe back no matter the cost. Clearly, she's talking about her life now that she can no longer heal. Booker joins them minutes later with Copley's location, and they head out to his house. Outside Copley's house, Booker hands Andy a gun, but Nile refuses to join them, saying she cannot live like them. She needs to get back to her family while she still has time with them. Andy gives her the keys to the car and lets her go. On her way, Nile decides to load a gun, but finds them all empty and can't help but worry for Andy, who's got an empty gun. At the house, Andy and Booker walk in on Copley, who seems to be waiting for her. He addresses her as the Eternal Warrior. She asks where Nikki and Joe are, but before she could finish her statement, Booker shoots her. Andy is so disappointed in him, but he says he did it for her. If Merrick could find out what makes them live, maybe he could find a way to end it. Only then he notices she's still bleeding and asks why she never told him. As he tries to carry her out, Merrick walks in with his band of goons and takes them both. Copley tries to change Merrick's mind to leave Andy behind, as she will die if the tests are carried out on her. Merrick doesn't listen. Nile arrives at the house later to find Copley. He tells her he captured them for medicinal purposes, but he fears Merrick has other plans. Then he takes her to where they are held. She raids the place and frees the others. They agree to go after Merrick and end it all, so he never comes after them again. Merrick's goons try so hard to stop them, but they put up a fight while acting as a human shield for Andy. They make it to the penthouse where Merrick is waiting with more of his men. They kill every one of them, but can't find Merrick. Thinking he took the elevator down, Nick, Joe, and Booker go after him, leaving Nile and Andy behind. Merrick comes out of hiding with a gun, attempting to shoot Andy, but Nile takes the bullet and jumps off the penthouse, taking Merrick with her. In the next scene, the group are sitting at a bar trying to decide Booker's fate for betraying Andy. He's banished from the group for 100 years. Andy is, however, hurt to see him go, as she will not be there in 100 years when he returns to join the others. Later, they visit Copley to check out his research on them and are stunned at his findings. Andy tells Copley he will help them wipe off every information about them, protect them from people who would want to use them for research, and find them jobs best suited for them. 6 months later, Booker walks back to his apartment to find a woman, none other than Quinn. And so the movie ends. Do you think we'll have a sequel for this movie? Comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe to the channel. Tune in for more at Movie Moments.